نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As the spirit entered within Adam's body and as he became a living being, he saw that the angels were prostrated in front of him, for the exception of one being that stood at a distance. Now the ulama state that the angels' prostration to Adam was a prostration of respect as opposed to prostration of worship. If we were to look at the notion of prostration of the angels, we will understand very, very clearly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not do anything in vain, but that there has to be an existential property to this prostration. And it seems that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Adam that position where the angels were subservient to Adam. They were all at Adam's service and they were yielding to Adam. And their prostration signified their willful surrender in servitude to Adam. Now if we look at the claim that the angels made, that we praise you and we hold you free of all defects, this gives us a lead into the nature of the angels, that these are natural forces. As the hadith explains, the force of gravitation, the natural force that allows nature to work, germination of the seeds within the ground, the beautiful attractions of the souls to each other, the coming of the rains from the skies. When we look at the hadith, we will find that nature is a living being. It has what we call a malakut, as Allah says in the Qur'an about Ibrahim, that we showed him the angelic realm of the heavens and the earth. What appears to us as pure matter and functions of matter, like plants and animals, are in fact living beings, conscious beings, that have taken the form of this material world that we see. But in themselves, they are living and aware of their own selves. And hence the angels said, because they are always trying to restore ecological balance and being productive, they said that through their existential being, they are always proclaiming the glory of God through their behavior. And they are holding Him free of any fault because they are rectifying any inadequacies that nature might incur at every point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, all of the angels prostrated, except for Iblees, he was from the jinn. Now when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says all of the angels prostrated, it does not necessarily mean all the angels everywhere within the cosmos and in the multiverse. It means all the angels that were commanded to prostrate. Indeed, Allah says to Iblees at one point, O Iblees, are you behaving in pride or are you from the lofty ones? Which immediately brings to mind that there may have been an exception to which of the entities were ordered to prostrate. Either they were non-angelic beings or either they were angels of a very superior nature. In any case, the most that we can derive is that the angels that were commanded to prostrate, they are the ones who prostrated. On the day of Qiyamah, we are reminded that we will ourselves be a witness upon ourselves, to the extent that our skin will testify against us and our hands and feet will talk against us, which shows that our skin, independent of us, and our hands and feet, independent of us, have a life of their own and have a consciousness of their own. And this could be the meaning of angels in one sense. Of course, not denying that there are lofty angels that carry the arsh of God, and that there are angels like Gabriel who are the custodians of His message. And then there is an angel that will blow into the flute on the final hour. And then there is one who takes our souls. And then there is another one who is greater than Jibrail, known as Michael or Mikael. Now it stands to reason that if the angel of death is submitted to us, then he may not be able to take our lives away from us. And on the other hand, it is also possible to say that the angel of death is submitted to humans in as far as humans can defy death and prolong life. We find here that Adam observes that this creature is very strange. He is disobeying God, and yet God is tolerating him. But at that point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Iblees about the reason for his refusal to prostrate, as opposed to judging him through his knowledge of the unseen or through his foreknowledge. The angels, according to the hadith, had presumed Iblees to be one of them. It was this particular act of refusal of prostration that signaled to the angels that Iblees may not have been among them, since none of them would be in a position to display such arrogance and to refuse. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Iblees, there are two questions that are asked. Iblees, why have you not prostrated to the one that I commanded you to prostrate to? In another place, Iblees, why have you not prostrated to the one that I have created with my hands? Then the question continues, are you behaving in pride or are you from the lofty ones? The response Iblees gives is, I am better than he. You have created me from fire and you have created him from dust. Now immediately Allah says to him, descend from it, for you have no right to behave with pride in it. So this shows that this is a place, maybe in another dimension, where the proviso of being there and the condition and the prerequisite of being there is that there is no trace of ego or arrogance to the level that it causes a person to defy the command of God. Allah says, descend from it, which means that this is a finer realm of existence. And when Iblees is told to descend from it, it is not a request that God makes. It is an existential falling that God initiates, that as soon as you behave haughtily in there, you are no longer eligible to be in there. And it is as if Iblees immediately changed the dimension of his existence, and his existential rank changed. After this, Iblees seems to have been in a place that Adam and Eve lived in, known as the Garden of Eden or Paradise. But that was another place compared to this place where the prostration was sought from. Allah says, Iblees aba wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin. Iblees refused. Allah asked him, why did you refuse? Maybe there may be a legitimate reason. In any case, he behaved in pride. And Allah says, and he was amongst the deniers or disbelievers. The kafir here is not in the meaning of one who does not believe in God, nor the one who does not believe in the prophets, nor the one who does not believe in the Day of Judgment, because indeed Iblees verifies his belief in all three. In one instance, Iblees says, spare me till the day you resurrect them. So he believes in the day of resurrection. In another place, Iblees says, I shall misguide all of them, save your chosen ones. Where here, again, he attests to the fact that there will be prophets. Iblees' denial, disbelief, was his preferring his arrogance and his own preference above the preference of God. In other words, real kufr is constituted by arrogance and denial of the will of God, or the lack of surrender and submission to the will of God. And that is in essence what constitutes kufr beyond the formalistic definition of kufr. And again, we cannot deny something until and unless we know about it. And therefore, to call an atheist who is legitimately a person who can't understand the notion of God or the notion of the God of the theist. Such a person can be called kafir, but for the sake of jurisprudential terminologies. But in essence, such a person may not be a kafir, since they are not denying the existence of the one who they know exists. They are merely denying the existence of a particular form of God being promoted or advocated by a group known as the theist or otherwise. Similarly, the agnostic who says, I do not have enough evidence to conclude that there is a God or that there isn't a God. In essence, it would be difficult to term them as kafir because it is not certain to them. However, if the atheist and the theist know within their souls of the existence of God and then they do not acknowledge it, then they would be kafir in the rightest sense. But then in that case, majority of us, when we deny the truth after knowing it through our arrogance, fall in that subtle category of kufr. Again, the people who do not thank God for His bounties are known as the kafirs in terms of kufranu ni'mah, that they are doing kufr of the bounties of God. In other words, failing to acknowledge it or when they waste it. The way we plunder the earth and the way we waste and the way we are extravagant brings us all within the category of those people who are denying the bounties of God and failing to acknowledge the truth that is deep within ourselves. After the fall of Iblees, Iblees says, God, spare me till the day you resurrect them. The response comes, you are spared to a particular moment in time. Iblees says, the way in which you have deceived me, indeed I shall come before them, from behind them. I will sit on the path that leads to you, and I shall deceive them all, and you shall not find them grateful. Allah says, any one of you, them who follows you, will share with you within the fire. Here, of course, we can see that the son of Adam has the propensity to go wrong, and Iblees will be an additional facet in causing us to err. But that does not mean that if Iblees is not there, we will not be erring. The Qur'an says that Iblees says to them that I merely called to you. You came running to me. Blame yourselves, do not blame me. You already had the desire to do something wrong. I merely encouraged you. Had there not been that corruption within your soul, I would have found no access to you. It is like somebody who is very greedy, and that greed opens them up to bribery. The person who bribes them will say, you already had that greed within you that I used subsequently. Rumi says very interestingly, he says, when a sheep and a wolf mate, and if you want to know the identity of the offspring, place before it bones and herbs. If it rushes to the bone, it is a dog. If it rushes to the herb, it is a sheep. This is the function of Iblees within the human life, that he is those bones, that if we rush to it, it shows our identity is one of a wolf or a dog. In the Qur'an, Iblees is called Shaitan. But when we look at it very, very carefully, we find Shaitan is an overwhelming reality, and Iblees is a part of that reality. If we look at the semantics of the word Shaitan, it is all the things that are distant from the truth. Whereas Iblees is an individual, he was called Azazil before he was termed as Iblees and before he was termed as Shaitan. The Blessed Prophet has said, I have enslaved my own Shaitan. And Imam Ali has said that the biggest shaitan for the individual is his own soul. So Shaitan seems to be a far broader reality than Iblees. And Iblees seems to be a part of the jinn. And jinn have a reality beyond Iblees and Iblees-like creatures. So Allah says in the Qur'an, He sees you and His people, they see you from whence you do not see them. And in a khutbah, Imam Ali says, they target you with their arrows and with their spears, their foot soldiers and their cavalry, and those on horseback. So it shows that Iblees and Iblees-like entities are a group amongst the jinn and not the entirety of the jinn. And it seems that the jinn themselves may be being misguided by such entities, as we shall see very shortly.